Yo, what's up, guys? Schizomanic here. Uh, so look what we got here. We got another Occult 9 episode review. Because the good news is that even though I don't think we hit the like goal, we got close, and the views to me more than made up for it. Because a lot of you, even if you didn't necessarily like the video, a lot of you were watching, and that's always great. Actually, we're pretty close. It's like I think you guys put about 23 likes in there, which is around the 25 mark. So I wanted to give you guys some credit. So, with that being stated, let's talk about Occult 9. Now, the like goal for this is going to be 30, 25 to 30. We'll just keep it around there and see if we actually consistently start hitting it. Because the second episode was a lot better in a lot of different respects. The first reason is that they slowed down the pacing. Thank God. It's one of the reasons why it's hard to recommend the Monogatari series because of the fast pacing. This slowed down and it was a lot easier to follow than the first episode. So if we can keep maintaining this kind of pace, we'll be good for future episodes. It also had a lot more focus because it really only focused on about two characters, I would say, in total, which is Miyu, which is the name of the fortune teller. And I don't know his full name, but I'm going to call him Shu, which is our first real introduction to our police character. Which I'm just going to say, why does he look like he's like Gamon's age when realistically so no one seems to question that he looks that much younger because he looks young. He looks around Gamon's age, but no one mentions that he looks like Gamon's age. They're like, oh, it's kind of like as if it's perfectly fine for him to look like that. When no other character looks like him like that. Like he doesn't even look like he's in high school. He looks like he's in middle school or some shit. I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know if that's just a weird thing that happens or what. I don't know. But let's get into some details. So we get a lot of explanation in terms of what happened last episode. We see that I forget the dude's name, but the occult guy who seems to be the trigger for the way this plot's gonna roll out from this point forward wrote some type of dying message, but all he wrote was the word code, which I'm assuming means more than what I think it means. We find he also Gamon ends up pulling out a fucking tooth key out of the dude's mouth due to the voice on the radio that he was given by, I guess, his parents, his either his father or his mother, I forget which. And we kind of, that's actually all we really see of Gamon. We kind of just see what happens right after that event. He's freaking out like you would expect someone to freak out over a dead body. Pulls the tooth key out and runs. But also going back to Shu, our young looking cop, we can also tell that he's playing another team on top of being a cop because he hides the fact that he wrote the word code out as if no one else should be able to see that. And he's on the phone with this guy talking about they need to get this list and there's 256 people who are guinea pigs. And I'm assuming that Mr. Occult dude was on some way high scale shit than we already know about, which would explain the dying message, the tooth key, and the fact that there are people out here trying to get this list. We also get a lot of, I guess you would call it characterization for Miyu and the curse, the fortune teller girl Miyu and the girl who's in charge of doing curses, which I don't think we know her name yet, or I haven't remembered it. The first thing is that Miyu's reasoning for doing this has something to do with her parents, specifically probably her father. For what reason, we don't know. I'm assuming it probably has something to do with the fact that maybe he's not around anymore. Something happened with her father. He probably died if I had to be real about it. But it has to be. It might be like a very weird way he died or something along those lines, and which would explain why she was so insistent. And we know that she can truly see the future as shown in this episode, which would explains more of her. Well, I'm gonna hang with Gamon because my future vision says I should hang with Gamon. That's why I'm doing it. Now, what that correlates into, we don't know. We also are introduced to the occult dude's son, who we're gonna call Sarai for right now until I learn his real name. Who I guess will get roped in this purely because his father was killed. Now, I'm curious if his role is gonna be because he called pretty much to shit on the fortune teller. Why you would do this, I don't know, unless he was looking for a fortune to be told. it kind of, I don't know. Well, then again, for someone who has a father who's into occult shit, that probably means he doesn't agree. He never agreed with his father. Meaning, and there seems to be something. There was a conversation he needed to have with his father that he now won't ever get the chance to have. Probably relating to this occult shit. Um, Pretty much, Miyu tells him that you need to talk to your dad, and then obviously he's too late at this point because his dad is dead. Um, We also, the other thing I thought was interesting is that he correlated, that the police dude Shu correlated how the scene had played out very similar to one of the main character, one of the other characters in this series, Marika, which we saw before. She was the girl in the purple dress we saw for like a split second, who has like big boobs, but it's in proportion to her body. We also saw her in this episode when Miyu's walking home with her friend Chi, and you walk past her and she has this evil look on her face, which now leads me to believe that she is probably being kidnapped or abducted by Marika. Now, how they would know each other, I don't know, since she's a fucking female doujinshi artist and she's a fucking web fortune teller. I don't know. Then we also go back to the girl who's doing curses. We now know that the hair that was in her mailbox belonged to the dude, based on Shu giving that report. So the hair he had was sculpted off and put in her mailbox. I don't know what the correlation is. That might be that the lady that we saw that was asking for her services and wanted to curse somebody. That might be what it is, but it's also shown to be that she wasn't there. She has no intentions of killing anyone with these curses. But the demon that seems to either be working with her, as we can kind of see now, is a pact, and it's probably an unwilling pact because the way he threatens her in this episode. Meaning the demon probably has something over her head and she needs to get something or reclaim her freedom, maybe. And she has to do this shit for the demon, but there's this agreement that they won't kill anyone. I'm assuming also the organization that killed this, and there's this whole conspiracy theory that whoever killed him, the guy, the occult guy, is also looking to draw this demon out, which is a whole different story in itself. And this guy it's pretty much the death of one character kickstart multiple events in a series. Now, whether or not the occult guy was into some heavy dealings, obviously. And it probably was one of those situations where his son probably didn't know, and he didn't explain it to his son because he knew if he explained it to his son, it would turn into a whole bunch of shit. And that's why his son's in the dark and why he and his son probably didn't get along. That's just an educated guess at this point. There's a lot of shit going on. And it looks like from the preview for next week, we're going to see like legit demons. Now, whether this is the same demon we've been seeing these last two episodes who are invisible is yet to be known. But it's obviously going in that direction of this series. The main character doesn't believe in occult shit, only for occult shit to be real. Which is why our fortune teller is real, why the girl who does curses is real, and why there are demons that are real. I also find this episode also kind of does a soft confirmation that I forget her name, big boob girl. I forget her name off the top of my head. The big boob girl with the zapper gun has a thing for Gomon because she asked to curse Gomon for two-timing her with Miyu, which obviously wasn't the case. So I'm going to assume that she has a crush on him. What the crush is based on, I have no fucking idea. But it seems like the next episode is going to be a lot more throwing in more care, kind of, and then we also get this weird section with the girl who is a fan of occult guy stuff, and how there's this other weird girl who hung out with I think her name was Rhea, the girl who hung out with the corpse of her dead brother because she has a severe Oni-chan complex. And there's a theory that she was hanging out with the ghost of her brother because obviously this weird, I don't really understand. I guess a publisher group is maybe what they are. Editors and publishers for like books, maybe. She has a thing for ghost shit, even though I don't think anyone else in the office does. So she's already weird in herself. How she's going to play into the story, I have no idea because she's obviously important, but I don't know to what degree is she important. So we'll see. And the fact that Gamon essentially after that night got this tooth key, there's this voice on the radio who's telling him what to do. which obviously probably has a connection to this other occult shit. We don't know where all this crap is coming, but this is the type of show I like to talk about because there's a lot to talk about and there's a lot of discussion to be had versus a lot of other shows where it's just like, oh, that was funny. Oh, that was cute. Who's going to end up with who? You know, I mean, that's fine. But sometimes you want to have these intellectual discussions. So I'm hoping you guys will come in and comment in the discussion and we can have a conversation. But yeah, that was the second episode. A lot better than the first episode. A lot more focused. A lot more interesting. We'll see how things go from here. I'm curious if this is going to be a show that has no problem killing off characters who were deemed important, or if it's going to just do that. Certain off-screen characters will die, but not the main cast. I'm curious if it's going to play that card or not. Patreon in the description. I might start doing live reactions to these episodes. So you might want to subscribe to Patreon purely so you can get those full, raw, and uncut, because I will be uploading them the day I do these reviews, but I can't post them on here because of copyright reasons. Twitter, Facebook, thank you guys for watching and commenting. 25 to 30 likes. I appreciate any likes and comments I get. Thank you guys for watching. Life's a game, play to win, and I will catch you guys later. Peace. Oh.